Welcome. Welcome to our workshop tonight. I'm so happy to have so many of you here. It's nice to see your faces. Kirsten, it's nice to see your cat's face. I have friends and clients and my mom's joining me and lots of people here from lots of different cities and all here seeking more organization and joy. Hi, Dina. Hi, Melanie, Jill, Carol, Stacy, Diana. Awesome. Well, it's so nice to see so many of you here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you have not already, please write your name, your location, and something that's bringing you joy today in the chat. It's really fun to see these. I heard sweet kitties and fuzzy robes and matcha lattes and having the dishes done. All of those are things that are bringing folks joy tonight, and that's lovely. I love that. Okay, so if you are ready to enjoy your home as a sanctuary that rejuvenates you and gives you space to relax with your loved ones, I would love to hear that in the chat. Type yes in the chat if you want to enjoy your home as a sanctuary. And if you are ready to clear out the clutter and create more time and energy for what really matters in your life and in the world, type yes that you're ready in the chat, because really KonMari is about so many things more than just organizing. It's about aligning our lives with what sparks joy for us. So I would love to hear if folks are ready to enjoy their homes and ready to clear out the clutter. Catherine says yes. Itzel says yes. Dina is joining. Awesome. Nancy said yes. Great. I love to hear all of this. So feel free to keep plugging those in the chat. So welcome. This presentation is cultivating joy and gratitude in your home with the KonMari method this winter. So first, I just want to say, I want to acknowledge you for taking the first step because it's hard. Taking the first step is really the hardest step. And I want to acknowledge you for showing up to prioritize joy, gratitude, and organizing during a really busy season. And when it can feel sometimes really hard and overwhelming to even start. So you showed up tonight. And by that, I know your desire to have more organization and more ease in your home and your life. So I can tell already that you're committed to bringing more peace and more harmony into your home. And I really wish that for you as well. And also wanted to acknowledge the Kensington Library for sponsoring this talk. Marie Kondo says that her goal is to organize the world and spread this message, her message of, joy through organizing, and organizing bringing joy. And so this is a great way to bring it to a lot of people here. Okay, so okay, a little bit about me for those who don't know. I am a certified KonMari consultant, which means that I've been trained in Marie Kondo's magical method of tidying up. I started my business, The Joy Filter, in 2019 to help people let go of what is no longer serving them and choose joy instead. I have a business planning events for nonprofit organizations that I started in 2015. That's actually what led me to organizing and feeling super overwhelmed with all the different systems I had to create, all the piles of papers that I had been holding on to. And so if you're a papers person, or if papers is your nemesis, I'd love to hear that in the chat, because papers was my nemesis. That's where I found KonMari. And things that bring me joy are being in the mountains. I'm going to the mountains next week. I'm super excited about that. Dancing, and the work that I get to do helping folks to really experience this transformation on a daily basis, which I feel so excited to be able to do that work. So I also wanted to share things that I believe in. So the values that I have and what I believe in my business. So I believe in transformation and inspiration, in hope and in joy. That's not to say real stuff doesn't happen. That means like we move through the things that happen. We go through those process, that grief and that experiencing the full gamut of emotions of life in order to still have that hope and that joy. I believe in following our intuitions and taking steps to lead lives that matter to us, even when that's kind of hard. And that letting go can be both really hard and also really healing. I believe that by confronting and clearing out clutter and aligning with the things that bring us joy, that we will create space for what we really want in our lives. So, what we are going to do today. Now, all the background intros aside, like what's the meat of today? So we are going to dream up your ideal life. We are going to learn what's special about the KonMari method and how it helps us to cultivate joy and gratitude in our homes and lives. And we're going to learn 5 rules for organizing your home with the KonMari method and the 5 categories of KonMari. So there's 2 different things. There's 5 rules and 5 categories. And you will get an opportunity at the end to be entered into a drawing for a free power hour session with me and to join a fun clear out party. I will share more about that at the end, but for folks who have attended, they're super fun. It's a great way to just kind of get started in a low risk, high reward environment. And then we'll have time for Q&A. And I don't know if you guys can see those lines, yellow lines on my slides, but I can, and it's bothering me, but it's fine. So we show up imperfectly to all things. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do today. So this is for you if you don't have the time or energy to read all of Marie Kondo's books, or maybe you already have read Marie Kondo's books, but you can't figure out like, how do you do this yourself and are looking for a little more guidance. Maybe you're making a difference in the world through your work, through your volunteer work, all the things that you're involved in, but you're ready to get more support for your own life and home transformation. And maybe you're supporting your family, feeling overwhelmed with all the daily household tasks that are going on, and you're ready to make things easier on yourself and your family. And finally, maybe you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed in your home and your life, and you're ready to experience that transformation of organization, joy, and ease. So I'd love to hear if you can share why you're here today in the chat. I'd love to hear some reasons that folks are showing up today. Okay, perfect. I'm looking at the chat. Margaret, welcome. Sarah, welcome. Oh, beautiful. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to dream up your ideal life. So I'm going to stop the share for a second here. And share that the first thing we'll do is we're going to talk about and dream up your ideal life. So if you wouldn't mind joining me, if you feel comfortable to close your eyes, we're going to do like a short grounding and visioning exercise. So just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Take a few deep breaths. So the first thing I want you to do, since we're talking today about gratitude, is to think about what's something that you want to appreciate about your home. Often in our homes, we go in and out. We are rushing home, rushing out. Lately, we may have been spending a lot of time in our home. We may be seeing things that we're not happy about. We may be seeing clutter we're not happy about. And it can be really easy for us to just feel overwhelmed and see all the negative things that we want to fix or change. But we may skip over the appreciations for our home. So first, think about something that you want to appreciate your home for this year in 2021. Or maybe it's this week. What's something that you want to say thank you, home, for this year? And now if you can think about if you could wave a magic wand, what would your home look like? Keep your eyes closed if you can, and just look around in your mind's eye. If you could wave a magic wand, what would your home look like? Maybe it's the same home, maybe it's a different home. What does it look like? And now, what does it feel like? How do you feel in this magic wand home? What activities are you doing there? What people or pets are there with you? What does your day look like? Maybe you do something in the morning when you first get up. What things are you doing during the day? And what about the evening? What do your evenings look like? What do your weekends look like? Are they different or the same? What about the seasons? What are you doing in the winter when it's cold? What are you doing in the spring? The flowers are blooming. What are you doing in the summer? Do summers look different? What about the fall? Now just take another couple of deep breaths. Feel into how you feel in this ideal home and life. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I'd love if folks could, you can both journal these or you can write them in the chat, whichever you feel comfortable with. So 2 takeaways. Number 1 is, what is something that you appreciate about your home? What's something you want to give some gratitude to your home for, or something that your home brings you joy. And secondly, what word from your vision do you want to remember? Maybe there's a word or two that stick out that you want to really remember as your vision. Maybe you want to write it down or draw it out and put it somewhere so that you remember. What are the things you want to bring forth from your vision into your life? So I'd love if you could take a few minutes, write these in your journal, and then when you're ready, share in the chat. And while you're writing those appreciations, I'll just read some shares of folks who shared why they're here today. Thank you for sharing. Mary says that their room is messy. Courtney is here to be inspired to organize your messy house. Yeah, I think inspiration is huge. It's one of my values. It's something that's important. There's no point in, doing something we're not inspired to do. Nancy is searching for peace in her space. I love that. Okay, and if you want to share in the chat something that you appreciated about your home or words from your vision. Jacqueline said, it's my safe place and shelter from the rain and the weather. It makes me feel happy and blessed. I love that, shelter from the rain and weather. Yeah, I didn't notice the rain and weather so much until I was taking public transportation instead of in a car. And I was like, oh, I didn't notice, like, the car was such a shelter from the rain and weather. Deirdre, let me know if I'm pronouncing that right. Appreciate how my home is warm and cozy. Vision word is peace and relaxation. I love that. Courtney appreciates how her home is functional. Yes, function is so important. That's lovely. Thank you for bringing that, reminding us about that. Kirsten appreciates how her home is organized and clean most of the time. Yes, this is not about perfection here. This is about what works for us. My home is not clean and organized 100% of the time either. It's like, can we reset? Can we move easily towards that? Life happens and we need to have space for that. So I love that. Vision words are freedom and ease. Yes. Okay. Sarika says, my home is a safe place. My vision includes calm, family, communal spaces, family photos, toy storage, manageable and minimal. Yeah, I love that. So we're talking about vision. Sometimes people are like, well, what does this have to do with organizing? We organize towards the vision. So Sarika, I love your, and let me know if I'm pronouncing that correct, but I love your family photos and family communal spaces vision and toy storage, because now okay, you know what, like, I want to have photos of, I want to be able to enjoy that. It's not just having like a sterile organized place. It's about having a place that shows what you love, so, and who you love. Perfect. Okay, Dina says, I appreciate the communal areas in my home, kitchen, living room, and dining room, where I have time with my family. Yeah, where all of those connections can happen. I love that. Christina says, appreciate my home is warm. Vision words are relaxing, energizing, and peaceful. I'm noticing a lot of relaxing, calming, peaceful. I love this. And energizing. Okay, perfect. Okay, good, Sarika, I'm glad. Thank you everyone for sharing, and feel free to keep sharing. I'd love to see these in the chat. something that you want to appreciate about your home or words you want to take with you and remember. And thank you for doing this exercise with me. This is the number one first thing in KonMari. Okay, so let's get into more about the KonMari method. So what is KonMari? KonMari method was created by Japanese organizer Marie Kondo around her name. She wrote the New York Times #1 bestseller, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. You've probably heard of it. If you're here, it's sold over 11 million copies. She also produced Tidying Up with Marie Kondo on Netflix. And there's a new-ish series. It only has 3 episodes, but it's really good. If you haven't seen it, it's called Sparking Joy with Marie Kondo on Netflix. And it's really good. It's about like how we can apply the KonMari method to businesses, organizations, churches, all the institutions that are supporting us in the community. So it's lovely. Okay, it's not the same as traditional organizing. If you have noticed, I've talked a lot about joy. I've talked a lot about vision. I'm talking about gratitude and cultivating these. This is all part of the KonMari method. And it really is, it does have a spiritual base and it's transformational. And Marie Kondo actually was a Shinto temple maiden for many years, and she integrates a lot of that into the method. And so it definitely has this spiritual bent, which is something I really love about it. And if you think about that for items, in Shinto philosophy, items have a soul and a purpose. And whether or not you believe that, you can think about it differently. It kind of gives you pause to think, okay, if this item's purpose is to be read or to be worn or to be used, is it fulfilling its purpose? And maybe there's someone else that would allow it to fulfill its purpose, if not with me. So I thought that was very beautiful in the method. So I keep going backwards here. Okay, so what's unique about the KonMari method? So in KonMari, we actually choose what to keep and not what to get rid of. That's pretty different. Usually we walk around our space looking like, what can I get rid of? What can I discard? But Marie Kondo did this and found herself always finding more things to discard and finding like, oh, I have to get rid of this and get rid of that. And changing this to be like, what do I want to keep in my life? It's more positive focus of like, I'm choosing these items and the rest doesn't matter as much. It's really not about the discards. It's about what you keep. The next piece is we tidy by category and not by location. And feel free to write questions in the chat along the way. I'll answer them if they make sense in here, or I'll review them for the Q&A, but feel free if I know I'm going through a lot of information, so feel free to add questions in the chat or comments. So we tidy by category, not by location. So this means we don't say, oh, I'm going to go through my garage. I'm going to go through my bathroom. We actually go through a certain category order and I'll go through that in a second. And we go through all items in that category. And because all items go into one category or another, we will touch every item in our house that we own when we do the KonMari method. So it can seem intimidating, but it's also very transformational because we have to be accountable for all the items that are in our house that either we brought in or we accepted. We discard items first and then we store. I know it can be tempting to go to the container store and get a bunch of like cool containers, but actually in the Marie Kondo method, we first have to do the harder work of like choosing, do you actually want this item in your life? Because if you don't, why buy all these containers to store it and organize it and then have more things to have to organize if you don't actually want it in the first place? And so first we make the decision of whether we want it, and then we see what we have left, and then we focus on storage. We make all decisions based on what brings us joy. So it's not about should I keep it? It's not about will I need it? It's not about how long has it been since I've worn it? It's about, does this bring me joy? I had a male client that had a bunch of clothes that did not spark joy, and he was trying to reconnect to what joy meant for him. And he found, and he's a professional male in his 30s, and he found this shark hat that sparked so much joy for him that he's just started wearing it as he was tidying because it reminded him of what joy felt like. So that, and you know, who's for anybody to say, oh, you shouldn't keep that or you shouldn't keep this. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, because it matters if it brings us joy. And that's why I love this, because you are the decision maker for all decisions. And really, it's not your mind making the decision so much as your intuition or your body, because your body will react. Like, for example, I'm holding up a candle here and I'm like, this sparks a lot of joy. It smells good, it's warm, it's yummy. Like, this candle gives me joy right now. Later, when it's empty and has no wax left, it won't spark joy for me anymore. But you can see how the body elicits a response. And if you've ever watched a friend, you can see, like, when they're excited about a job or a new relationship or something, or when they're like, oh, well, I really feel like I should. It's a very different energy. So just watch for energy. The next piece is we tidy our own items only. This means you do not go through your partner or kids' things or roommates' things or family members' things and tell them they should throw it out or throw it out for them. We only go through our own things. And I know that can be hard, because sometimes we have a problem with how other people have their things. But really, that problem is not for us, it's for them. And if it's not a problem to them, it's not a problem. But for us, we need to be accountable for our own things. So it kind of turns the mirror back on us to be like, okay, maybe is there something that I'm not doing that could make my life feel better? And I need to start first. And you know, interestingly enough, I've seen many a time when clients do this, it can be contagious. Like, others in the household may start organizing on their own accord, but it has to be on their own accord, not because somebody else told them to do it. Tell me in the chat if this is something that's coming up for you, because it's a very, very common. I would love to hear. Treat all items with respect. We keep with confidence the things that do spark joy, and we think and let go of those that don't. So this could mean something in our life played a really big role. Maybe it's a clothing item we loved. Maybe it's a binder from an old career. Maybe it's photo, whatever it is. Like, maybe something was helpful and we loved it at one point, but maybe we don't anymore. And that's okay to think it, or maybe we don't fit it anymore, or maybe we don't practice that hobby. It's okay to say, you know what, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done in my life, or thank you for teaching me that I don't like this in the first place, and I'm letting it go to its next home. This is a really key piece from KonMari. Okay, so let's see, Emily, let me see if there's any questions in the chat first. The shark hat, yes, it's really cute. Kirsten's in my Facebook group, so I'll post it in the Facebook group, Kirsten. And for others, I'm going to post the Facebook group later if you're interested in joining. It's a cute photo. So KonMari helps us cultivate joy and gratitude. Why we're here in the first place, we're talking about KonMari, joy and gratitude. How? Joy is because, like we said, all decisions are based on what brings us joy. And so as we let go, which, yes, is hard, I won't tell you anything otherwise, it can be hard, but we practice it, we get better at it, and it can be healing too. It can be part of a grieving process in a way, of past identities, of past relationships, of past anything. To let go, but to also go through that, not just to like not look at anything and throw it away, but like actually process it. But the reward for that, as well as the processing and healing, is that we become surrounded by only things that we love. And so when you look around, you love all the things around you, and it brings you more joy and a more smile to your face. Not just that they're organized, but also that you love them. Gratitude. So when we allow ourselves to let go of what we don't want, ironically or not, we actually become more appreciative of what we do have. So I'm likening this to renewing a wedding vow, or remaking any kind of decision. For me, with my businesses in the past, my events business, every year I kind of had to keep making that decision. Like, is this something I really want to do? Like, there's a lot of different struggles of being an entrepreneur. Do I want to keep doing this? And then I say yes. And I'm like, you know what? Yes, I do love this. Like, even though it has its struggles, I love the path that I'm on. And so you become more appreciative of it because you've chosen it again and again. And so it's kind of, in a way, it's interesting because we got rid of all that noise. When we see all the other things around us that we don't like, we're like, I don't like this thing, or there's nothing to wear. But maybe if you have 100 items in your closet and 80 of them you don't like, and you let go of those 80. I've had clients say, with those 20 left, they're like, I love my clothes. I love my closet. And they have the same amount that they actually wore before, or maybe less, but they appreciate it more because they've chosen the things that are really aligned for them. So if you could share in the chat, have you experienced this about the letting go of something and then or letting go of the non-aligned things and finding that you become more appreciative of the things that you've chosen again? So I'd love to hear some examples if anyone has gone through that. Okay, so yes, Jacqueline says, taking the first step is difficult, but after that, it's really easy and you can't stop. Yes, Jacqueline, are you currently KonMariing? I'd love to hear this because it's so true. The first step is the hardest step. Yes. Okay. So once KonMari is addictive, I think it's a great addiction. As you, minimalist team, love it. As you start, after you start to experience the rewards of it. You experience this joy. And so you're like, oh my gosh, I love that. I love how my closet works. If you started with the clothes first, like, you are like, I like how this feels. And you keep going because you want that feeling. So yes, listen to Jacqueline and take the first step. It's the hardest, but you'll just keep going from there. So last kind of info slide, and then I think we will have some time for Q&A in a few minutes. So feel free to write your questions in the chat as they come, or we'll open it up for chat and or for if anyone wants to say anything. So what do you actually do first? So these are the 5 rules and the 5 categories of KonMari. So the 5 rules of KonMari is committing yourself first to tidying up. You make a commitment because, as we talked about, KonMari is it can be intensive in that you're touching all the items you own, but the rewards are huge because you make such a big change so quickly that you want to keep it up, and it becomes like something that's actually manageable to maintain, which is like a challenge for a lot of people. And when you haven't finished it, it's hard to maintain something. But when you make that commitment, you're like, I'm all in, I am going for this. I want this because I want to achieve my vision, because I'm going through a transition and I don't want to move all this stuff that I don't want to a new place, or because I'm older and I'm thinking about like, I've had clients tell me like, I don't want my kids to have to go through all my stuff after I pass away. Like, I want to have gone through it. Like, as morbid as that can sound, it's true. It's all part of the process. So what's your why? What's your vision that allows you to say yes, committing yourself to tidying up? So that's number 1. Number 2, you create an ideal life vision. You already started this in our visualization. So what is the thing that you want to keep working towards? What are those words of your vision that empower you? And 3, we go through the categories in order. And there is a particular order because in KonMari, we go from easiest to hardest. So I know a lot of people are like, I have sentimental things. What should I do with them? And generally what I say is, don't do anything with them because it's way later in the process and it's the hardest category. So start with the easiest and build that muscle of listening to your joy and intuition. So the first category is clothes. The next one is books, then papers, then miscellaneous or kimono, which includes everything else. And finally, sentimental. We can talk more about that if folks have questions in the Q&A, but those are the overview. 5 categories. Obviously, there's only so much I can do in a 1-hour workshop. So I want to give you overviews of things, and then I'll share some resources if you want to learn more. So that's number 3, is going through the categories in order. Rule number 4 is gathering all items from one category together. So that means if you have clothes, that you are taking out all of your clothes and you're putting them on your bed. And I know I have had clients that have had many clothes, and yes, it can be overwhelming, but it's also part of the process, because then you see, oh, this is the quantity of clothes I have. Like, these are the types of clothes I have. How do I feel about this? Maybe I feel good. Maybe I feel like they don't spark joy. Maybe I feel like this is way too much. Whatever it is, you get to decide. And you can also kind of cross-check more easily. Like, oh, do I have 5 scissors? Do I have this scissors here and this here? Do I actually have, how many pens do I have? Or, oh, do I have a black sweater that I love? Because I don't really like this one. And so you can cross-check and see like what things do spark joy that way. And then number 5, that's the simple rule of keep what sparks joy and let go of what doesn't. Simple doesn't mean easy all the time, but it is simple. That's the rule. So, I just thought I'd share how I support folks on their tightening journeys in case you're interested. I'm going to share my information later. You're welcome to contact me and ask me any questions. I do in-person KonMari sessions. I do virtual private KonMari coaching. I do these really fun monthly clutter clear out parties, which I'm going to give you a coupon to come for free. And I have a fun Facebook community, which we will share in the chat. So I want to share with you today, since you joined today, if you are looking for more tips and prizes, this is a really fun opportunity. So basically it's one sign up and you will both get entered into a drawing to win a free power hour. And I will do this drawing on Friday. It's a 50-minute private KonMari coaching session with me on Zoom. You'll get to clarify your vision, discuss your specific challenges, and learn how KonMari can help you achieve your vision. And maybe I'll even do 2 since we have a big group today. And you'll also get a coupon. This part is for everybody, not a drawing. Everyone will get a coupon to join my New Year's clutter clear out party, which is a $97 value on Saturday. So I have one that's coming up this Saturday. There's also one in January. So if you can't come to this one, then still sign up. You can come to the one in January. Saturday, January 8th. They're super fun. It's a 3-hour session. We get together on Zoom and we work on projects together. You don't have to show anyone your space, but you can be in community with others who are also working on their KonMari journey. So it's a really nurturing, welcoming community. It's really fun. You get stuff done, and yeah, you can even enjoy it while doing it. So I'd love for you to join that. And we'll also put the link in the chat for that, or Kara, if you wouldn't mind sharing that. And yeah, so I wanted to give you tons of time for questions, or maybe it's not tons, but some time for questions. And I'm going to stop the share so I can more easily see your faces and your questions. And yeah, so feel free to add questions in the chat. Let me check out what we have here. Okay, Kirsten says, I've not regretted anything I've let go of, nor had I had to replace anything, which was her biggest concern. Thank you for sharing that, Kirsten. That's definitely a common concern. Awesome. Itzel, hi Itzel and all. So Itzel says, I'm in the middle of KonMari with Jenna and had a great experience this weekend. I was taking holiday photos with my family and I couldn't find exactly the right thing to wear. So I dug to the bottom of the drawer where the things I didn't love and didn't wear used to live and found the perfect thing that I love. Yay! I love this story. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the things that we don't like, we just keep them anyways. We think, well, what if I need them? And then we never wear them. So this time it's like you found something that you actually loved. So I love that. Ellie, no worries that you were late. That's totally fine. Okay, Nancy, great question. What about different size wardrobe when things give you joy, but you don't fit presently? Okay, and then Kara put the links in the chat. Awesome. Thank you, Kara. So there's both the sign up link and for the drawing and also the Facebook group link. Okay, So Nancy's question, this is like something that has happened with maybe every client of mine. So different size. So what I tell people about a what if situation, it could be, this doesn't fit me. It could be like, I have maternity clothes, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have another baby. It could be like, I have office clothes, but I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to work in an office. Whatever is the what if situation. I first say, still joy check it. And I say, like, if you were pregnant right now, would you want to wear this? If you were working in an office right now, would you feel excited to wear it? If you fit this item right now, would you want to wear it? So I would just still joy check in a hypothetical. And sometimes a lot of the answer is no, like, no, actually, if I started a new office job, I would want to have new clothes that maybe feel good. Or yes, I love this dress and I would definitely want to keep it. So I say do that. So that's the first round, and you will get a lot of clarity from that round. And then the next thing is, one thing you could do is, I had a client and friend who we did KonMari clothes. We did one session of KonMari clothing, and she was at a time where she was like, you know what? A lot of these things don't fit and they still bring me so much joy. I want to wear them, and I'm at a place where I really want to lose weight. And she joined Jenny Craig like 2 weeks later and lost like 35 pounds over the course of 5 months. And is this because of KonMari? Like maybe, maybe not, but I think it's because she had to make a decision on these pair of jeans. And she said, I will keep these jeans for 1 year. And if I fit them in a year, I'll keep them. And if I don't, then I'll let them go. And so she put a decision, she made a deadline. She was really committed to that. And she ended up losing a lot of weight, actually so much weight that I think she had to get rid of those clothes too. But it just set things in motion for her. On the other side, there's me. I had clothes that didn't fit because I had gained some weight and they made me feel really guilty. And I didn't feel good when I saw them. And I just let them go because I didn't want to be feeling guilt and shame by my clothes. I kept one thing that I felt like, okay, this is a way I can use to test like if I fit it or not, and I let go of the rest. So you have to decide what works for you and what feels good to you. But it helps because it helps to kind of make that decision. And I've had other clients who are like, you know what, like I'm never going to be that weight again, or I had an injury and that's changed the way that my body is, or I'm never going to be able to wear these types of shoes again. They're not good for my foot with the issue that I have right now. And so they've just allowed that to be like, let go of things. And if, something changed in the future, maybe they'd get new clothes or new shoes, but it was kind of a relief and a release in a way where it's like, okay, well, that made that decision easier. Okay, that was a really good question. Okay, no other questions. So let me know, so if anyone wants to say a question like out loud, or if you have a question that you want to put in the chat, it's a quiet group. Usually I get like tons of questions. So I'll give it a minute. Okay, oh, great. Okay, Sarika, how do you get a partner on board or going through kids things? And then Mary, does this apply to computer stuff, phones with folders? Okay, so I'm going to answer Mary's first. Yes, yes-ish. There's a book called Joy at Work that's by Marie Kondo and co-written with Scott Sonnenschein. And they talk about how to apply it in a digital sense. Basically, the same thing can apply. Bring all documents to one place and sort them into folders or kind of like subcategories. Bring all photos to one place. Like if you're storing documents in a bunch of different places or photos in different places, then it's hard to even know what you have. So yes, the same principles can apply, bring it to one place and go through them together. Okay. The link, there's a question, Sarah. Okay, so the link to sign up to the drawing is right there in the chat, and to also get a coupon to come to an organizing party for free. Okay, so Sarika, how do you get a partner on board? The short answer is you don't. Well, I mean, maybe you do. So I have had some clients who've actually been like, you know what, I'm going to see if my partner wants to do it, and I'll ask them, and they said yes, and they actually went through their things, but not together. I was really clear, like, when we're working together, you're going through your things and you're going through your things, but you have to let them have their own vision. So in this case, she had a vision of having like a yoga room with a mandala painted on the wall, and that was really inspiring to her. And he had a vision of, like, he loved books, so he wanted to have a reading nook. Were those visions the same thing? No. Does that mean that they both can't happen? No, they're totally not mutually exclusive. Like, they could both have their vision. So allow your partner to have their own vision and to work towards that. And then you work towards your vision, and has to be really clear that, like, is this my thing? Is this your thing? So I think even just going through that conversation with a partner of, like, whose is ownership is this? And is this something you're okay with? Like, say in the kitchen, maybe both people use the kitchen, and you say, okay, we want to go through these together. Or maybe one person uses it more and they say, okay, can I go through these, and I'll put aside the things that don't spark joy for me, and you could have veto power if you want to keep any of them. So there's different ways. So that's for partners that are like ready and wanting to be on board. You can definitely do it, and just respect their decisions. Like, what sparks joy for them will be different from what sparks joy for you. And for partners who are not interested at all, you just go anyways, but you go to do your stuff. You don't go through their stuff, but you say, okay, you know what? That's okay. I can work on my things. If they decide to jump on board later, great, but I'm going to just still make forward progress. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad you came. It's nice to see your face. Kids things. Marie Kondo says that kids as young as 2 years old can be involved in the process. So how that you involve a 2-year-old is different from a 10-year-old or anything, but there's small ways. Like, you can start folding and teaching them the folding, or you can have them tell you what things spark joy for them. I have a friend that had 2 kids who were 2 and 4, 2 girls. And one of those girls, they both had rainbow tutus, and she would go into the dirty hamper clothes and find that rainbow tutu and wear it all the time. And it's very clear, like, that kid, that sparks so much joy. And now she's like, my friend's like, oh, she doesn't wear that anymore. So now she's ready, she's decided it doesn't spark joy for her. But kids know very clearly what sparks joy for them. Will you get rid of things that they need? Like, no, like, you still need to balance a little bit, like, okay, they need a backpack, or they need, but allow them to be involved in this process, and you can have it be a teaching moment too. Oh, and there's a great book. So let me put these in the chat. Joy at Work is for the digital and work stuff. And then Kiki and Jax, the life-changing magic of friendship. That's a really good kids book, and they have it in English and Spanish, and it's all about friendship. And there's a squirrel and there's a owl. I think it's a squirrel and an owl. And okay, is this Kara? Awesome, thank you. Anyways, it's a great book for kids. The library has it too. Yes, get it from the library. I got it from the library because I don't have kids, but I wanted to read it for folks, so I checked it out at the library. Okay, suggestions on getting started. Yes, the suggestion on getting started is come to my organizing party on Saturday. It's really fun, and you will start because you're surrounded by other people who are also doing it. So that's why, for me, I have to sign myself up for, like, yes, it's still saying yes, to sign up myself up for group workouts, because I will not do it by myself, but I know I want to do it, or I want it to be done. So I signed myself up for group workouts, and it's more fun. So yes, sign up for the organizing party, clutter clear out, and join. That's my one thing. You don't have to, but I love that way. Another thing I would say is, if you're going to start on clothing. So if you want to start on your own, one category at a time, start on clothing, and try not to get overwhelmed with all the other things, because there's a system. You start clothing, then books, and so you'll get to it if you go through the system, but start with clothing. Try not to do like everything at once. Okay, how can you break down the method into small enough chunks to actually be able to tackle it during real life? I find categories too huge and too daunting to start them. Yeah, I mean, it is a thing that you have to decide if it's a good time for you and if it's worth it for you. And if so, then set aside a few hours, because And it might not be the right time. Like as I said, I'm an event planner, and when I was in an busy event season, when I was doing my own KonMari, because we had to do our own, I would not be KonMariing at all, because I'm like, I'm busy. I don't have time for KonMari right now. And then when I had a little time off, I would work on it then. Or I took a week, actually. I'm like, I'm going to take this week. Did I finish it in only a week? No. But I took a focused week where I'm like, this week is for KonMari. And I focused on it, and I declined invitations to do things, and I didn't work, and I decided to do that. Obviously, not everybody can or wants to do that. But yeah, I think it's decide if it's something that's worth it to you right now, for one. And if it is, put time in your schedule for it. I think that's the basic of something, of like, as we budget our calendars, like KonMari your calendar. Maybe there's other things that don't spark joy that can move. But yeah, I think the other thing is, that's why I love the organizing parties too, is because it helps you kind of like have the momentum. The other thing you can do, Kirsten, is like, I've told this for folks, it's not the ideal. The ideal is you take out all the clothes. But if that's really overwhelming and you don't have time, you could take out a subcategory, all of the shirts, still take them all out and still do it in that way. But you can do it by subcategory. Like, I'm going to do belts today or something. So, okay. Elizabeth said, great workshop. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, last question, and then we're running up against our time here. So thank you all for sending these questions. These are great. Christina said, how long should you take to work on each category? A day, a week, a month? It's really hard to answer that, Christina, because everybody's different. So the length of time that it will take you to complete KonMari depends on how big is your house, how many items do you have, how quickly do you make decisions, and how much time are you dedicating to it. So to give you an idea, for me, like, it took me a year. And I wasn't doing it all the time. I was taking little times, and then I was stopping, and then I still have some sentimental things still to do. So yeah, but I've also had clients or people who have said, oh, I just did a couple of weeks and went through it. I think that's really fast. I would plan that it will take several months to complete like the whole process. But yeah, on each category, like, I have had clients that finished clothes in one clutter clear out party. They came to the party, they went through all their clothes, like they had a small amount of clothes. I also have had clients where we've spent like 6 sessions on clothes. So it depends for you. I think you'll get a better sense like once you start. Papers takes a while because it's dense. You know, one paper looks like so small, even though it can be a lot of decisions. So yeah, I'm saying this to be realistic. I don't want to scare you all, but I also don't want to be, I don't want you to feel discouraged that you put in time and you're not seeing the result yet, because you'll see the result when you finish the category, not when you finish the whole thing. You will see the result when you finish each category. You're like, this feels amazing. Maybe my kitchen feels crazy, but the closet feels great. So that's the other positive thing, is like bit by bit, you see the results. Okay, Itzel says clothes, books, papers each took me a day. And yes, Itzel is a minimalist, like very minimalist, but I know that miscellaneous and sentimental will take forever. Yeah. So everybody's different, and don't judge yourself for how long it takes. It takes how long it takes. So, okay, perfect. So that is the end. And yeah, this is my website and Facebook group, and just a lot of joy and gratitude to you all for joining me. It was really nice to have you. I hope you got something from today. If you want to share maybe something you're taking with you in the chat as we close out, that would be great. And I'll share again the links in case you want to sign up for the drawing, come to the organizing party, come to the Facebook group. They're all resources for you. And I wish you very much luck with all of your holiday season and with your KonMari goals. And Kara, are you there? Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Kirsten. Do you want to add anything, Kara?
Just thank you to you all. It was lovely to see everyone's face, and thank you, Jenna, for a great presentation. I put links to the library catalog for the books that were mentioned. We do have almost all of Marie Kondo's books available, so come and check out a book from us. Hope to see you guys soon. Oh, and I do want to say big thank you to the Friends of the Kensington Library who sponsored this program tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.